Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the November 19th episode, or edition, 2025, Tress Told You. I'm your host, Tress Snow, as usual, here on a Wednesday. Not much to talk about today. I got an evergreen topic, as you can see if you're clicking on this. I talked about this before. I can't remember what rabbit hole we went down at some point. I think it was when we were looking at the Batman fan casts, right? And we started to talk about other ones, like people that almost did. So I thought, okay, good evergreen topic. I thought I had more. So today, usually I have it that if you are a patron or send in a super chat, I will read what the comment is. If you want to say whatever you want, go ahead today, because who knows, even go a full hour, because this is the first time now that we don't have the 5 TV shows going and movie reviews. We got a Weekly Geek, 2 Trash Told You, and then the newscast. Luckily, tomorrow newscast, we got the draft, and we got what we've been watching. But when it's just us 4, we can. We've discovered the last year, but especially this year, as far as planning, something like, oh, what do we talk about? There's so many times when we do the what we've been watching, that could be a show right there. So that's tomorrow, 8 p.m. PST. The whole boys back together. That'll be a fun time. But yeah, that's what's gonna happen. That's where I'm gonna try to see, obviously. We do our surveys and whatnot, but I'll see when we get to the end of the year and see now a little bit through, I don't know, November and December, what Trash Toy does. If I still want to do it twice a week. I did have some more evergreen topics, but I think I've deleted them somehow, so I have to take a look at them. So if anyone has anything in the future, let me know. But yeah, we can talk about some Batman stuff. Got a couple questions from Golden69 on the Patreon, and I guess I should shout out that right now. Patreon producers, thank you very much for being at that top tier. Oh, excuse me. April Darkness, Aaron Braden, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, God69, Charlie Randall, Cocktail Clay, Jonathan O.H., and Sam Green. I just realized it was, I think, on the side quest, like, oh, 2 Sams on there. We need to get another one. No, just keep the Samness going. But yeah, no, not much news, and that's what's going to happen in the next little bit, I imagine, because I feel like it's going to be hot and heavy come December with a lot of trailers and everything, but yeah, we'll see. Like I said, this is a good experiment to do. Usually on the Monday, there's always box office. I might talk a little bit of the Wicked box office coming up in some of the tracking. But yeah, we're just going to shoot the shit for a little bit, talk about Batman. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a good week, a hump day, if you're watching this live or listening to this on Patreon. But yeah, again, shout out to the producers. You will be this week. If everything goes according to plan, me, Terry Kirkland, will be doing commentary tracks for Rise of Skywalker and Scary Movie. Those release for everybody on Patreon timely when Mando comes out and Scary Movie 6 comes out. But if you're a Patreon producer, you get everything early, because as we've said before, Patreon next year, it's always, you get your 3, there's like we have a schedule, right, of what comes out every month. If you're a producer, you get to pick the content, you get to pick a movie if it's your first time, and you're going to get all that stuff super early. So look out for that, and we thank you. And thank you everyone that's listened. Yeah, trying to think what else has been going on, what else is happening. December, November, getting very busy lifetime-wise. I'll go into some of the questions, and I'll start with God Loves Me 69, because he is a patron, he is a producer. So he has 2 questions. He said, have you seen Begonia? I have not yet seen Begonia. As I've talked about before, life just kind of, the way it is now, once Emily's back to work and once the twins are in daycare and everything, that'll change. But right now it feels like if I have a finite amount of time to sneak out, and lots of times it has to be for the reviews. Obviously it's getting a bit different because now twins are actually, mostly sleeping in their beds, not waking up. So it's getting better. I haven't got to the point where I like to go to the gym super early. I haven't got back to that point yet, because them waking up early, everyone going to school, it's kind of tough, right? So luckily I've been going with Taylor. Me and him kind of go twice a week, because he's got a guest pass where he is, and then I do the home workout. So, but that was the problem with that. It came out during Halloween, and the thing is with that, I always don't know what to call you guys. I was like, I almost just said God, just shortening it to God. But the problem with that 69 is it came out Halloween, but it came out the 31st here. So I'm not sure if you or other people got Thursday screening. So honestly, the Thursday would have been perfect to see that. I had nothing going on really that I could have skipped. And then now there's just tons of stuff of, right now, if people don't know, my oldest daughter, Gwen, she's in dance, and same as my third daughter, Ellie, she's in dance. But Gwen's in 5 dances, so she does 5 a week, and then she's a nutcracker. She's playing a sugar plum and a mouse this year. So she does that on Sunday. So 6 days a week, things are very busy in our household right now. It's funny, like podcasting life, I feel is very busy from like July to Extra Life because now we got GV Day. So there's always some setup there planning and then some in between to plan Extra Life. And then it's like, okay, we have movies and TV shows, and especially this summer, with how many TV shows we got, it was super busy, just too busy to be honest. But then with now personal life, anytime if she continues to do, last year we didn't do Nutcracker because the twins were being born, just we couldn't pull it off. But Nutcracker's multiple practice. Luckily they're on the same day, but lots of times they're not. And especially when we get closer to it, there's a lot of casts, like a lot of calendars where it's just like Trav's potentially not available because it's just a lot of practice. They go later, especially now she's in both parts, right? Act 1, Act 2. So yeah, I'm happy for her. I I've never said I don't like watching Nutcracker. I don't need to see the Nutcracker yearly, but I do now because that's what I do, and I do. You know, I'm always going to support and go see the show and everything like that. And I'm very happy she enjoys it, so I'll be there. But yeah, so things get very busy. So that's the thing. 69 where there's a finite amount of time. And same thing, I could have made the excuse of I'll see it. And not the excuse, but when I can see it and then talk about it on the podcast, that makes it easier to justify, like, okay, I'll go do the time, see it, talk about it. But then when it's like past a week, it's like, well, I got other stuff going on. It's not really too timely to talk about on like a Trav's told you, even for, you know, downloads or clicks, because lots of time, as you can see, the show is me ranting and stuff. But if it's something like a movie, I got to still get it in a finite amount of time where it's makes sense, right? Like where it's still okay. Why? Like it's topical, right? So, no, I will see at some point. I'll probably see it on VOD, which I was not planning to. I've heard great things about it. I will get around to see it, especially that's one that I want to see. There's a lot of 2025 movies that they're not chores, but I go, oh yeah, I gotta watch those, but I don't. I don't know. I don't have too much pull. Like I feel like most of the ones I have a pull that I'll be seeing in theaters later on, or like even Avatar 3. Like I've talked about before. Like I think I might be on that review, but I don't have much anticipation for it. So it's like, do I want to sit there for 3.5 hours? I don't know. So that's the thing. I think I've seen most stuff I really want to partake in. What was the other questions you had here, sir? But yeah, you said if not so good, highly recommend it. Do you boys plan on playing Arc Raiders? I should have asked on SideQuest. Seems like you guys have a blast with it. Happy Hump Day. Yes, happy Hump Day to you, sir. Me and Dylan talked about Arc Raiders a little bit. I don't know too much about it, but I would like to. We got to get back into Helldivers because we were playing that. That was lots of fun, but I'll run it by the boys. I wouldn't be opposed. I would love to eventually at some point start doing more streams. We used to stream Call of Duty, and especially now that I know how to do because I did it for GM mode. I would like to do that again, but we never have like a set time when we're doing it, right? Like that's the way all our lives are. So, and then also you asked Polaribus, I think that's how you say it. Check that out. Very intriguing theory crafting. I want to. The plan is to hopefully get there. People know this if you're a long-time listener. I love Breaking Bad, one of my favorite shows of all time. It is my favorite show of all time. Better Call Saul I enjoyed, but I don't have it as much on the Breaking Bad level. I get why some people did, but I want to. It's funny. None of the trailers or anything really pulled me in, but I've heard great things, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Vince Gilligan. So it is on the list. I might even start it soon. What I was doing was I finished Stranger Things. Finally, I'll talk about that a little bit on the newscast because we'll talk about what we've been watching. But I finished that because next week, obviously, the volume 1 starts. So, and I think those are just solo reviews for me. So if you like Stranger Things, you'll be getting Travis there because we're doing that. And then the Christmas one and New Year's one, like I will review. We'll see when they come out. Terrible times for podcasters. But Mike says, my sister did Nutcracker when I was a kid. Had to see it every year. I can relate. Yeah, it's like I said, I don't mind it. The people are very talented. They do a very good job. Like Kelowna's a small town, but they do a very good job. It's not a show I need to see every year, you know. It's not, but obviously because my kids are in there, that makes it's good when they're on stage, or just one kid, right? But yeah, so I finished Stranger Things, so I want to get that done. I finished that last week, so that's done. That was 4 seasons. And then I watched and I talk about this a little bit, I'll talk about this again tomorrow, but I watched The Beast in Me on Netflix. That's like that number 1 show right now. It's Claire Danes and Matthew Reeves, where she thinks she's living beside a killer next door. All I'd say is, unless you're a massive fan of Claire Danes, I'm on the other side where I'm a massive fan of Matthew Reese. So that's why I watched it. So if you're in any of those FC fan clubs, then sure, watch it for those two. Matthew Reese to me is a very underrated or underappreciated actor. Loved him in Brothers and Sisters and The Americans. I wish this guy would be in more bigger stuff. And he's great in it. Claire Danes, I think, is kind of doing stuff you've seen her do before in Homeland, but Matthew Reese is playing something a little bit different. Like, I feel you saw little versions of this in The Americans Brothers Sisters, because he can play an asshole at times or a bit darker, but never to this extent. So no, I really enjoyed his performance. I thought Claire Danes was good as well. I think the show was quite good. Like, it's hard for me to say really good. I think it's one of those where it's quite good and you can see the lines of where it could have been great. It feels like it's a few steps or just like a rewrite or two from being great. There's just a few things. Yeah, I guess I should have my phone just in case anything breaks. But yeah, there's just stuff where they'll tell you things that, like, for example, right? There'll be a character, and I don't care, minor spoilers. It's Matthew Reese, Claire Danes, they're the two leads, right? She's the writer. She thinks he might be a killer. And at one point he's talking about how, they're friends. They don't feel like friends at all. Not even just the way they act. It just feels like the time has not been given. And especially because there's at times where she's writing a book about him. And even the trailers, you can see there's like a tension relationship, right? It feels like, other than one time, they, like, again, minus words, they get drunk and they just get drunk and talk about their lives, and it's a good scene. It's very fun, but it doesn't feel like this would be like, oh, we're friends now, right? There's a few things where it's the classic they tell don't show, and I don't believe this, and that happens a few times. And I'll say in the final episode, man, there is a resolution to a problem, and it is the most tropey, cheesy type of, like, this is what you got, especially in 2025. It's like, this is how you do it. I was very disappointed by that. So I'd only say watch it if you really like them. Other than that, it was a good show. But yeah, so I probably will get to players. Right now I'm gonna try and catch some new movies, and then I've been putting on 6 Feet Under. It's just like a background, like, hey, I got work to do or other stuff, and because I've seen it before but I haven't seen it in a while, so I probably will 69. Maybe I'll wait for the newest episode and then kind of do like a binge of them. I have to check if I still got Apple. I know me and my mom share that, and she was keeping it for morning show. If I don't, that makes it a bit harder, but I will get there and watch it eventually. And yeah, I hear great things, and no surprise, and I do like that he's doing something different, not just like, oh, another crime drama, right? So I do enjoy that. And yeah, that's about it, really. So let's get into some of these lists here. So yeah, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the ranking of the fan cast, which I did not even have this. I don't know if this is like someone put it as like a scuttlebutt CD plus rumor, or if it's something where like it's just fan casting. I think it's mostly fan casting, but I never thought about this. And again, I saw the clip where with James Gunn, people, I think because of Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights, are talking about Lordy. Man, I never thought about that. And I said before, I do have like a perfect fan cast because I think Sam Reed would be great, right? But I've always said that's not going to happen. That's a far reach, right? Where with Elordi, that's not a far reach. He did the same thing as Pal. Like, oh, if there's one hero I play, it would be Batman. He's worked like Wuthering Heights. I'm pretty sure is WB, right? He's growing a name. There was a rumor that it sounded like he could have auditioned for Superman and he just passed on it. And maybe that's because he just wanted to play Batman. And he was my pick for Batman or for Superman. So I kind of thought like, oh, he just doesn't want to do that. But now that people show those clips of him talking about Batman, the size, and especially I think it's because all the Oscar, like the Governor Awards, all the stuff where we're seeing him suited up. It's like, man, he'd be a great Bruce Wayne. Now, with that, I'd have to see like who the writer is, who the director is, maybe if it's Andy Muschietti, like, which would still be good enough. But man, I'm really behind that one now. So I'm with people. I hope Elordi happens. I think Elordi's ultra talented. Like, I already thought that before, but I think at least with Frankenstein, I said this in my mini review of it, that people have kind of woken up and been like, oh, he's not just this thing, right? And Wuthering Heights, he looks great. And I feel like he has that perfect edge for Bruce Wayne, where he can be the charming, charismatic, but also at times you should not like Bruce Wayne, right? Like, one of my favorite runs is at the end of Death of the Family, not Death in the Family, Death of the Family, where just like Robin, Barbara, like, I guess I should be specific, Dick, Damian, Barbara, like, they want nothing to do with Bruce. Like, something happened, and it's just kind of, they're putting him at arm's length, because at times he can be a dick, or just not a good I won't say not a good person. He will be a harsh person. He's a tough love type of person, right? And Lordy could do that almost more than Pattinson, in my opinion, right? And I think that'd be someone completely different. So I hope that happens. Let's see. Remember, Mike says Lordy Code's a bit too young in the world with a Nightwing aged Dick Grayson. Now, here's the thing, Mike. I agree with you. The reason I'm kind of walking that back is just because Gunn's saying lots have changed with the Batman script. I still think there's a chance that they completely walk back the whole, and he never said older Batman, but the idea of an older Batman, the idea of all this universe stuff, and I would like that. I would love it if, because we still have to find out what's going on with the Reeves script. I really don't want Robin in the Reeves story. I can see how it could work, but I just think with a trilogy, and even then, if we only get the Batman Part 2, I really just want it to be about Robert focusing how he becomes Bruce Wayne. Now, granted, maybe that's how you use Dick Grayson, right? But I just feel like there's pieces missing that story before you get to a Robin. I do. It's tough, right? Because you're hoping, like, fuck, Saudi Arabia or Saudi Arabian Paramount could be, because that broke a couple days or in between this, right? Because we talked about Saudi Arabia. Then there was a report that Paramount was teaming with Saudi Arabia and other people to buy Warner Bros. They came out and said, no, 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 this isn't true. And I had so many people share, like, oh, good news. It's not true. This Paramount Saudi thing, not true. Literally, there is like a week and a half in between the Netflix CEO being like, yeah, we really have no interest in Paramount and Warner Brothers. And then there's rumors being like, yeah, they're looking into it. They're getting a, investment firm or whatever to look at the books and stuff. It's like, don't believe anything these people say. They even said in their statement, it's a private matter. We're not going to talk about it in full till after the fact, or if we have to, right? Don't believe any of these big corporate CEO billionaire people. I'm not saying they're all liars, which they could be, but just like they just said, it's a publicly traded possible purchase. They're not going to say anything about that, right? Because maybe if Netflix or Universal learn that, hey, they are partnering with Saudi, that changes our bid, that changes how we approach things, etc. Right? So my thing is, obviously, hopefully, the DCU could go. But I've been talking about this a lot with Fanboy Clay, because I feel like in the GUA chat, me and him are the most worried, because he's also watches wrestling, and I feel like there's just a lot of people that don't understand the Saudi Arabia thing, other than a few other stuff. Like from a business standpoint, I talked about this last episode as far as like what they could just really fuck up with DC and what they would want, right? So I really don't have much faith in the DCU continuing, or the DCU as we know it with James Gunn in the plan. As I've said before, I don't love James Gunn's DCU, but I like that it is like has a clear vision because of the guy, and it's still like decent enough. Hang on one second here. Sorry, it was a somewhat urgent work manner where someone needed to know something, and because I still do that, but I'm not working right now, but it's when I get back to it. So the thing is, in the perfect world, the DCU, I would love, to me, that's the perfect time to be, you start with Batman, and then you bring in Robin, you bring in Jason Todd, you bring in Tim, you bring in Damian. Like, to me, and I got why you do the whole, oh, he's a dad, it's different, but I will always feel a little robbed if we don't get that. So I do agree with you, Mike, that if they are still going that route, he does seem a little younger, because what he's like, I think we looked this up last time, he's like 28, right? Obviously, you can age him up a little bit. Let's see here. And I apologize. Hopefully my audio is good. Let me know in the chat if it's bad, because my Wi-Fi is taking a beating right now. But he's 28, you could age him up. Obviously, it is tougher with like Dick Grayson, but we'll see, right? I don't care if they say they change. I would rather them just outright, or Gunn say, hey, we have this idea. We plan to go, we decide to go a different way, instead of the whole kind of, okay, thank you, Mike. Yeah, because when I pulled up a new tab, it was like, so it must just be something else going on. I think that with, shit, where was I? Oh yeah, I would just much rather him go, yeah, change, versus sometimes Gunn does the whole, well, I said this, or oh, I meant this, or I didn't exactly say that. It's fine just to say things change, right? It's the same thing. Like I don't know. I'm not $1 billion head of presidency, right? But we do that all the time with GeekVerse stuff. So I don't know. I think it's just sometimes easy, and people get it. Things change, life happens, right? So I guess we'll have to wait and see there. But let's talk about some of these lists. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to write it down and then I will pull up the ranking. So I'll call it the Almost Batman ranking. And I think I've known most of these. I don't think anything jumped up. Some of them were reminders of, oh, right, that did almost happen. But let's take a look here. So, and then and what I'm going to do, even though it's a Batman ranking, I'm going to take this fucking thing off. It's getting hot in here. I'm gonna still put it in the sense of it is a Batman ranking, but we're putting Bruce and Batman together. Like it's gonna be them two, like what I would think they would do together, right? As far as the quality. Now, I think this is an easy one I'm saying it's gonna be last. Now, granted, this was at a time where I think this was coming where it was supposed to be a comedy. I think there was even rumors that Eddie Murphy was gonna play or Robin. It was in the time where I think they're kind of making something in the ilk of Batman 66. But people know how I feel about this guy in general. So I'm pretty certain he's going to be last of the list, and I'd be shocked if there's anybody else, right? Bill Murray. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it where if it is, we're making a Batman 66 adjacent. I could see that, right? I could see how he could pull that off, an Adam West type of thing. He has done serious work. I just think all over that is a mess. Even for the comedy wise, I get it, but even some of the serious stuff, it would be tough to buy him in. But I get it. That was a different time. But I thought I'd still bring up because it comes up all the time when they're talking about making him Batman. And man, that would have, like, if that happens, that goes in a certain trajectory I don't want to see. Like Batman played by Bill Murray. It's kind of like those rumors that Jack Black at one point they were making a Green Lantern, kind of like The Mask. Yeah, that would have took the Green Lantern. It also already went in a bad trajectory, but it would have went in a much worse trajectory. So, yeah. So I don't see anything else beating that as far as being ranked last, but we'll have to see. Let's take a look here. Next on the list. Stop doing this, Reddit. Willem Dafoe. Now listen. People might go, no, you're wrong. It's Joker. No. I had to double check this because I remember him talking about this. I think he kind of said the whole Joker rumor thing never was really true, or there wasn't, at least he knew about, like, he didn't know of anything to it. For this, he talked about it, I found in 2009, that at one point he said early on talks, he was talking about being for Batman. So obviously I'm going to rank him above Bill Murray. I don't know what version this would be. Obviously, Tim Burton and Willem Dafoe would eventually work together. I think it's tough because if you think of Batman 89, I've said this before, Keaton's Bruce Wayne for the most part's not great. I think before Pattinson came along, he was the worst Bruce Wayne on screen live action because that's a guy. And Pattinson, I've always said the reason you kind of give it a pass is because he's not in the public that much, right? You don't see him. They kind of make him that he's just keeps to himself, and he's kind of a shut-in, right? Also, they do in Dark Knight Rises, but you had the history of Bale. With Keaton, he's out there all the time, or a lot of the time, and he's a fucking weird guy. He's a guy that you go, yep, he's Batman. Where Bruce, like Pattinson, you might get there, but the problem is he's not out enough to really get a gauge on him, right? You just think he's just a guy enjoying his riches. So right now, of course, I'm going to put Dafoe above Murray, but I think Dafoe's Bruce would only fit in the Keaton Burton type, right? To play him a little more aloof, a little more weirdo, a little more off the wall. It's not really a Bruce Wayne, and even as Batman, right? I think Dafoe, one of the greatest actors of all time. So it's kind of like when people bug me about how I say Glenn Powell could be a Batman. Give Dafoe Batman and let's see what could happen. It's an odd fit. Obviously, Joker, that's the fit right there. That would be great. It's just odd thinking about him in the like even in the 89 one, it's an odd fit because Keaton's not a big guy, but Keaton just has a scary presence. Like Dafoe's a different type of presence. So I think Dafoe is probably the greatest actor without an Oscar. I do think that I'd give him a shot. Let's see. But I think he's scarier in a different elk. So I don't know. Same thing like Murray. I don't know how far Dafoe's going to climb. I think I'll have him at second last. Maybe there's someone else on this list that pops up because I got about 3 lists here. So we'll see. But that would have been... I don't know if he would have pulled off the Batman thing. As great as an actor Dafoe is, I feel like that could have been a test for him, right? A real big challenge. Where Burton's Bruce Wayne, yeah, he could have done that. Pierce Brosnan. He's somebody now. I'm going to put him above the other two right now because I do think it's similar, right? Because I think there's a lot of people that could play both, right? Like you can say, oh, he'd be a great Bruce Wayne, but not a great Batman, or a great Batman, not a great Bruce Wayne. I think Powell gets that when we talked about that. I think Defoe, I'm talking about that here. I think with Pierce, the Bruce Wayne stuff, as we saw with Bond, he has that locked up, right? That's easy, good to go. Very simple. I'm not going to say a layup, but kind of is, right? I don't think obviously Bond and Batman are the same type of guy, but there are isms, there are similarities. Pierce as Batman, I think I could see, because there's times where he has to get serious as Batman. I think it's similar to, I feel like he would have played a lesser version of Keaton's Batman, but I think that would have been good. Obviously, I don't know. I still think Keaton would have been a better choice for as the Batman, but I think that would have worked out. I can see, especially the Bruce Wayne part. You can see the line there. I think that would have been good. So we'll mosey on here. Ethan Hawke. This one says specifically for Batman Forever, right? I don't know. Especially this era, I think it's similar to Batman, right? Are you saying as supposed to clarify? I think you're talking about Bronson, but if not, you're talking about Ethan Hawke, saying he feels like a very Bale type to me with Bronson. Yeah, I could see that. I could see his Batman would have been pretty wooden, because I think Bale's best Batman is in Begins, and then his Bruce is what carries him throughout. I could see those comparisons there, and yeah, even his like the whole Batman Begins pawn thing, like I'm buying this hotel, you could see Pierce doing that, right? But again, that's because of Bond. Ethan Hawke, I don't know. What I was saying is it feels similar to Affleck, where I feel Affleck, once he got to the Argo older stage, when he's an older Batman, I go, you know what? I can see that. I was one of those people that I supported Affleck the whole way. Me and Kyle, when that was announced, were like, this is a great casting, where so many people crapped on it, right? But I think Affleck, like younger, like even though he did Daredevil, but still like younger. Okay, it was about Pierce. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Because I was like, I don't know if Ethan Hawke, same thing, Ethan Hawke and Bale younger, not so much, but older, I see some similarities. But Ben Affleck, like after, what is it, Good Will Hunting? No, I don't see it there. Same thing. So Batman Forever era, I really don't see, like Kilmer's definitely a better choice. Maybe some Batman stuff, maybe you get there, but I don't think Hawk would have been a good choice. And I think Hawk would have been a better later choice, and even then I would not have felt as confident as I did as Affleck. I feel like Hawk is similar to the Defoe thing, right, where I feel he has better different type of scary isms, and he would have been better as a villain. So I'm definitely not putting him above Pierce. The question is Defoe versus Hawk. I think I'd give Hawk a little more of the edge, because at least he has like a more usual Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, like I'm handsome and a gentleman. I could have saw that, and he can play suave Hawk. So like look at him in the before or after, or like the Midnight series or whatever the fuck they are. They're all the different nights and days and whatnot, right? That even sometimes, and I'm trying to think. There's something else that's just on the tip of my tongue. So I think I'll put him third right now, Hawk. But I don't love that. I can see why in the 90s and that era why they'd go to him, but I don't see that as a good fit. And I think that's a good, at least at that age, right? Joaquin Phoenix for Darren Aronofsky's Batman Year One. And I guess still we're talking about Batman in general, right? But that's another tough one. Because like Joaquin is a guy, he can do a lot of great stuff, right? You know, he's big, hidden art. Oh! I don't even know if the boys know that's in there. I put that in there. I don't know if they know that's in there. Ethan Hawke in the before movies. Yeah, the after movies are the One Direction fanfics. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Because it's like what? It's like before sunset, before midnight, before sunrise, something like that. That's a blind spot for me. I've never seen any of them. I think I saw like a bit of one when I was younger, but like from what I've seen in clips, there's some suave with the chemistry and charisma there, right? Maybe I have seen one. I feel like I've seen the first one, but I need to check those off at some point. Maybe if they ever do a fourth one. But Joaquin, so here's the thing. I think for Joaquin specifically for Aronofsky's Batman, that works. Like I just feel like Aronofsky knows his movies are very specific, even though like it, Caught Stealing, I didn't love. I really enjoyed it, but for the most part, his movies are very specific. I'd say for if he thought with his script and Darren Aronofsky's Batman was perfect, because he was trying to do like almost like what they're doing with Absolute Batman, right? Where I think he was going to be very low on money and just had like a workshop, like he was a mechanic, like it sounded pretty similar to what Absolute Batman is. Obviously, he wouldn't have got that jacked, but for that, he'd be perfect. So that would have been a very different Batman. He probably wouldn't have had to do the whole suit and tie, suave sort of stuff. If he was going to, like, Joaquin is one of the greatest actors of all time. I think he could find a way to do the Bruce Wayne stuff. The Batman stuff is the trickiest stuff, which is funny because we have two people on this list that, were rumored for a Batman and then went on to be Joker, right? At least maybe two, maybe more. I don't think Phoenix is scary in that sense. He's again like the default thing. So I think the Bruce Wayne would have had to carry it. And same thing with Aronofsky's Batman. It would have been something very different. Who knows if it would have been as like a scary Batman, right? It would have been more like a vigilante year one sort of way. So yeah, so in this list, I would put him above Hawk though right now. So right now I got Murray, Defoe, Pierce, let's see, Phoenix, and then Hawk. I would put him above Hawk. I have more because I think that Bruce Wayne's would, on a no, I think if you're looking at like at a 5 ranking, I think their Bruce Waynes could be similar ranking. Their Batman, I would trust Phoenix to get there more, to be scary and intimidating. Because even look at God, what's that movie he did where he has the hammer? It's like I may not forgive you, or let me just put in Joaquin Phoenix Hammer. It's a dark movie, Hammer movie. You were never really here. He's scary in that. So, all right, let's go next to Colin Farrell, Wolfgang Petersen's Batman versus Superman. People don't know. Yes, they were trying to do a Batman versus Superman early on. I can't remember. Something happened because Wolfgang Petersen did Troy, right? Troy, director. Yeah, it is. I hate to say this. Is Wolfgang Petersen still alive? I think he's passed, right? I think he's passed. No. Yeah, he did. Okay. A couple years ago, August 12th, 2022. So for people that don't know, at some point they were working on a Batman vs. Superman. I don't know if there must be scripts, but I don't know too much about it. I don't know who the Superman would have been, but that's why in I Am Legend there is a Batman versus Superman poster because like, oh, we're gonna do this at some point, right? And the whole thing they were gonna do that, and it fell apart, and then he went up to go do Troy, and then because he did that, because Nolan was supposed to direct Troy, they said, okay, Wolfgang's gonna do Troy, but as like a make good, we'll give you Batman, and then the rest is history for Nolan, right? So it's kind of funny that duology. Colin Farrell, yeah, I think he could do the Bruce Wayne stuff. That's easy. He's got that down. He's somebody's too, like I said with Affleck or Hawk, would have been better as like an older age, like in the BVS era. But I could see what they're going for, and he can get quite dark. So I think Farrell would have been a really good choice. He's somebody, like I said, that's been better as he's gotten older, but I would put that currently at number 2. I'm a big fan of Farrell. The older he gets, I actually think the better he is. Obviously, it's funny he went to go play on the Penguin, but I think the Bruce Wayne, as far as this list, other than Pierce, he's probably the best at that. And Batman, I could see him getting scary. Obviously, who knows what that script was like, right? So, Jake Gyllenhaal's Batman, obviously one that's been talked about for many years. I think that's always been a case, same thing, of the Bruce Wayne, he's got that down. How does Batman be? But I think Jake, like, I give him a lot of credit. I feel like people go back and forth. I think people bring up his eyes, because his eyes, he's not like the most scariest looking motherfucker, but I think he could have got there, and I think he does fit with what Nolan was trying to do. But I'm going to still put him below Farrell to me. I feel like Farrell can get a little more scarier, so we're going to put him there. Cillian Murphy as Batman, obviously, he auditioned, he was in the suit, he was in the finals. It's very similar to like the Defoe thing or the Hawk thing, where it is, hey, he's probably better on the villain side, right? I think because it's funny, I can see him in Begins a lot, because I feel like that's the most Bruce movie. Not feel like it is the most Bruce Wayne heavy movie we get. Actually, I guess Rises might be, because right, he's not in the suit that much, right? But he's in that fucking cave in the what is it, the pit. So it's a lot of Bruce just being hurt on a gurney. I think with it's similar to Phoenix and the Aronofsky thing. I think Killian actually would have been great for Batman Begins. I can see a lot of those Bruceisms. But in the test, like even then, he's not. The Batman is lacking a little, right? Even though coming off 28 years later, we talked about this before, or 28 days later, you can see how when he gets scarier in there, how you could get there. But I think that would have been. I think his Bruce, he would have done very good at the real Bruce Wayne. Because obviously there's three characters, right? There's Batman, there's the fake Bruce Wayne, and then there's Bruce Wayne, who's a real version combo of all, like Batman and Bruce Wayne, right? Not the fake version, right? I think he would have done the torn Bruce Wayne stuff really good. So it's just a question of like his Batman. Because I'm looking at him versus Phoenix. Like who would have been a scarier Batman? I still put Murphy above him there. So I'm going to do that. And also I'll screen share the list after to show you the whole thing, right? Heath Ledger, same thing. That was talked about Batman Begins. I think he kind of said that he was kind of like feeling about it. Like he didn't feel like doing the Batman thing was exactly what he wanted to do, even though he liked Nolan's pitch, but he just was. Or was that Hartnett? Maybe I can't remember. I feel like one of them just kind of, maybe both of them, so they just didn't take it seriously, but they were kind of unsure. But then once they saw Begins, they kind of got it. Again, like Murphy, like Hawk, like Dafoe, his presence is elsewhere better, and even then, to his charming charisma is very different than the other people that would take to be Bruce Wayne. Like you look at 10 Things I Hate About You, you could make a case if you're gonna make a top 10 performances with charisma. Fuck, man. Heath Ledger, that movie, knockout. Like, man, we lost such a talent. Every time I see his old work, it's just such a shame. There's other stuff too, but that movie specifically, you fall in love with Heath Ledger. Doesn't matter. Put him up against anybody, he brings it there, right? So, but I think like for the Bruce Wayne-ness and the Batman, I rank Heath pretty low. Now, don't get me wrong. He's like Dafoe. He's one of the greatest actors where if you were to say, like, let's see it, okay, and then give it to us, and maybe it'd be great, right? But I think I'm going to put him pretty low on the list, even though love Ledger, and obviously he went on to become, to me, giving the greatest performance of all time. I always say, people might think I'm biased as Joker, but put the up against anybody. Henry Cavill as Batman and Batman Begins as well. I think the Bruce Wayne stuff he'd get, and I actually think with the Batman stuff he'd do pretty well. Like I'm not on board when people have been giving him the DCU fan cast. Like, no, I think that's a little weird. That'd be too close to home. Let's not do that. But I think he would have done pretty well. For both stuff, he has the size too. Like even before he works out, he's just like a bigger, broader shoulder guy. Like, yeah, like he has the height. Like I'm putting him pretty high. I don't get me wrong. I think there's certain people on here, like a Phoenix, like a Murphy, for the Bruce Wayne stuff, especially in that era, they're gonna give you a better performance, right? They're gonna give you more emotion. I think Henry Cavill's gotten much better. He's got older. At times he was a little wooden. I think the Bruce Wayne stuff they would kill over him, but I think his Batman would be more believable, and you would buy into that, right? So I'm gonna rank him like fourth right now. I feel good about that. Let's see. So here's one. We're going to take out everything, take out the baggage. Just talk about the acting. Go back into that era when it happened. Armie Hammer. Obviously, the Batman who never was, right? He's one of those guys that he was legitimately cast in George Miller's Justice League. He was talked about when BVS. He was talked about when the rumors of Affleck was leaving. He was talked about with Pattinson. And I'm sure if those things didn't happen, and there was an older Batman, people would be talking about him again. Take everything out. Bruce Wayne, I think, look at Social Network, other stuff. That's a nail on the head. You get it. And I do think he has the right look, the right face, the jawline, the eyes. I was with people. I do think it would have been a great Batman and Bruce Wayne. I think he would have been like, I don't know if I want to say all-timer, but I think the potential was there. I could see Miller's vision, everything that preceded that. I could see that. Social Network, Man with Uncle. Yeah, or Man from Uncle, right? I could see, like, there's a lot of them there. So for me, it's, obviously, again, we're just taking everything out. Who knows? Gonna put him at, no, I was going to put him at number 2. I'm going to put him at number 1. Again, there's no way you would do it now. There's no way they could. And again, for the Batman who never was, dodged a freaking bullet. Could you imagine if Matt Reeves, now we probably live in a world where maybe they would have paid some people off and that stuff wouldn't come out, but could you imagine the Matt Reeves Batman comes out and it's, let's say he just, and it makes sense why. And that's why it all differs, right? I'm thinking just classic comic book Batman. Aronofsky's script, which I referred to, which I have downloaded. I recently it came across Twitter somewhere, and I think it was he wrote with Frank Miller. Most people said it wasn't the greatest, but I want to read it, so I do have it somewhere. But like his script and like Matt Reeves' script, right? That's where, or like I'm talking about Defoe with Burton's Batman. If you were to say Matt, like there's a reason why Pattinson and Holt were the top two contenders, because Reeves had a certain vision, a certain style he wanted to do with his Bruce Wayne Batman. Armie Hammer does not fit that Bruce Wayne. That's where I'm saying just the stereotypical, here's Batman, Bruce Wayne. Arnie fits that. But if you're to say, hey, specifically, if I was ranking this, even all these actors, that'd be a fun list. But if I was ranking Arnie on the Matt Reeves, say you have to put an actor in the Batman, people like Hawk, people like Phoenix, even people like Ledger, they go up. They go much higher, where Pierce, Arnie, Cavill, they go way down, right? So it all depends on the take. And that's why when people kind of talk about Glenn Powell, it's like, you don't know what the script would be, right? And at this point, Gunn hadn't said this, but he said, no, like, I still want Batman to be darker. I wouldn't want to be comedic. I thought there was a chance his Batman would be more lighthearted, more Brave and the Bold-ish, right? Like the cartoon, not as far as cartoon, but you know what I mean, right? That's where Powell's perfect for that. So it's like, we don't know what the script is. Same thing with this. When people were talking about like Ben Affleck, and let's say in that history where it's like Ben Affleck playing Matt Reeves' Batman, he could have never fit that Batman. Like that was never the case, right? People could, I think there was a time where it's like, oh, the script changed, you changed it. No, when Ben Affleck said, and I was a sucker back then, this was before I was really in the podcasting game and breaking this stuff down. When Ben Affleck was like, oh, I'll go on the ground and play an 8 for Matt Reeves. I was like, okay, he's in. Why would he say that out there? And then I was like, you know what? I showed that I was too naive. And you can't believe, as I was talking about the CEOs, actors, what they're going to say. Ben Affleck could have never done what Rob Pattinson did. Could Rob Pattinson do what Affleck did? When he's older, sure. But that's also because I think Pattinson's a better actor. And I don't think Affleck would disagree with that, right? I think Affleck's strengths are, he's a very good actor, but the directing is where he showed that, right? But Arnie Hammer, if we're just going classic, put him there. Let's see, next on the list. Josh Brolin and that's the same thing. Brolin in the stereotypical Batman, no, but he was going for the BVS Batman. That fit like what Affleck did. Brolin fits with that aesthetic. I think he would have been a very good Batman. I think he would have been a scary Batman. The intensity is there. The Bruce Wayne of it all, I think he could have pulled off. I don't think it would have been the strongest suit. If you're even just trying to think of BVS, like I don't think he was nearly as charming as Affleck would have been, but I'm gonna put him second. Pierce is taking some beatings right now, but this is purely because his Batman I think would have been strong, especially in the BVS world. He would have knocked that part out of the park. So we got that one there, and this is the last one for this list. Holt. Again, that's where once I saw what Reeves was going with, I can see why the line to Holt was there. I could see him doing that Bruce Wayne. The difference is, I think Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is even more scary than Ben Affleck's, because Pattinson's Batman looks so fucked up. He has the Arkham armor. He looks like a guy that's going to snap at any moment, right? And Affleck's has that too, but he looks like he's been through some stuff, right? He looks like the closest I've seen to the Batman I like that's like addicted to being Batman. Pattinson has that. I don't think that's the same way where I'm talking about with Brolin, where his Batman would have been very strong, but his Bruce would have been okay because his Batman's so strong. I think his Bruce would have been strong in the Matt Reeves stuff, but in a classical sense, I don't think so. Even if you use that stuff, the Menu or Lex Luthor, same thing. His energy was perfectly placed to where it needs to be with Lex, and I think he's the best Lex we've got. He was a fantastic villain. I'll be fighting for him in Golden Geeks this year. I think he home run with Lex Luthor, and credit to James Gunn with the writing as well. Home run there. That showed the energy, like the Ledger thing, like the Cillian Murphy thing was off, and it's better suited elsewhere, right? So Holt, I got pretty low. Because like him versus Ledger, right? That's the same situation where we went off to go play villains. because I'm just trying to take out the Reeves stuff, right? Because even his Batman would be a bit more mopey, whereas I'm trying to. I have to go. I still got to put him above or below Ledger because I think their Batmans would have been pretty similar. With Ledger, I just think his Bruce Wayne would have been a bit better, and also I'm thinking classical Batman, right? So that's one list. Let's see if we have anybody else that's missed because I pull up 4 lists in total. I think it's Arnie Hammer we checked off, Phoenix we checked off, Farrell we checked off, Jake Gyllenhaal who looks like John Bernthal in this photo we checked off, Ethan Hawke, Cillian Murphy, Josh Brolin we checked off. Nicholas Hoult, Pierce Brosnan, and then Heath Ledger. Okay, we checked all those off. There's going to be an obvious one coming up that I think is like on the post things here. And I don't even know if he was like actually rumored, but it's kind of like we'll put him because the fan cast happened of like counting him. Oh, nice. It closed that second window, even though I didn't want that, but I'll bring it back up. Let's see here. Okay. So here's a couple new ones. So here's, to me, number 1 with the bullet, other than Matt Reeves' Batman. And you know what? Probably Nolan's as well. So that's the good thing. Like, that's why Batman's such a versatile character, right? Ben Affleck's Batman, Nolan's Batman, and Pattinson's Batman, Reeves' Batman, all very similar, but very, very different, right? I think Pattinson and Affleck share in the scary Batman essence, but their Bruce Wayne's very different. I think the Bruce Waynes of Bale and Affleck share the similarities as far as the charismatic, cocky individual, but their Batman's very different, especially ethically, right? And then Pattinson and Bruce Wayne, or Bale's Batman, are in line ethics, but character-wise, very different, right? John Hamm, talked about many times. That's where classical Batman, BVS, even same thing, like Nolan's Batman, like I can see the Batman in there, but I can't see Hamm doing that Bruce Wayne stuff, right? You definitely can't see John Hamm doing the Pattinson stuff, right? So that's where I'm ranking this on just the classical Batman, and maybe it's another evergreen topic or in the future, I don't know, but just like putting them the specific Batmans, or just even ranking the Batmans we got cast and how they would do in, like, how would Kilmer do with the Pattinson or BVS. So maybe that'd be it. Maybe we'll do that as another evergreen topic. I try to spread the Batman stuff out because I could talk Batman every week if there's nothing to talk about, right? But John Hamm, if we're going classical, fuck, man, that's number 1 with a bullet. I think his best, if it's just movies, his best bet was the BVS route. I think he would have fit there. But I think if you were making a James Gunn, same thing, if he's younger, I don't think now. And yeah, Superman John, that's the way I feel about Lordy, but easily John Hamm could have been either Batman or Superman perfectly, right? Yeah, I think they both, it all depends on the era and the type of direction, but he would have nailed both of those. John Hamm, it's so funny how after Mad Men he didn't blow up. I think, didn't pick the greatest project after the fact, but John Hamm to me was always kind of like Arnie, where that's a perfect Batman we never got. It was sitting right there, should have happened. Don't get me wrong, Affleck killed it, and he was the better box office draw, right? But yeah, especially after the rumors of like Affleck maybe leaving, he would have been a great replacement. And here's one that was talked about for a replacement for Keaton, because it was very iffy on if Keaton was going to come back for Batman Vengeance or Batman Triumphant. It had some different names, but Kurt Russell was talked about for Off-Seat. Now, that's in a very different Batman. So I'm same thing like the other people like can. I'm going classic Batman. I'm not going to go for like the sequel to Batman Robin with Kurt Russell. I'm trying to think, chat, is there any Kurt Russell roles that he is like a Bruce Wayne-esque? Super Mike says John Hamm is Fargo's on season 5. John Hamm in Fargo season 5 is an amazing villain performance. That's good to know. I'd love to get to the Fargos. I love Noah Hawley, even though like I didn't love Alien. So I've always wanted to get there. Enjoyed the movie. I just haven't got around to it. Pretty sure Hamm was in the running for Superman Returns as well. See, now if we're talking about specific versions, I don't think that would have fit, right? Like, I think he's great as Superman, but if you're trying to tell me he was Christopher Reeve Superman, they got the perfect guy in Brandon Ralph. Just the movie's not that great, right? And the rating is not that great. So that's where they screwed up there. But yeah, I don't think he is like would have fit for Christopher Reeve Superman. But Kurt Russell, I can't think of a suave role. Now, he can just be a suave guy, but to me, it's like the Ledger thing, or who else is on this list? Maybe just Ledger. even Holt, not so even Hawk, but I compare it more to Ledger, where he has a different charisma, not necessarily the Bruce Wayne. I can see him do that. Even something like the Hateful Eight, you could see some sort of like the dickish Bruce Wayne stuff, right? But that's harder, but very similar to Pierre or Brolin. I think he would have been a great Batman. I think obviously look at Snake Plissken. He has the action hero, and he is perfect for like a 90s Batman. He is a great action hero. He has the Bruce Wayne thing where sometimes it's not like, I don't know. He can look handsome. He can look. He's more rugged, but he can look handsome. He can pretty him up. So Russell, yeah, I'm gonna put him right there. He's kind of a top mid pack, just so everyone knows. I will read off the list and tell me if you people agree. Kurt Russell, not Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, someone else, and that would not be. I don't have that as Batman. Kurt Russell. Let me specify so I don't forget here. Okay, let's see. Is there anybody else that we haven't touched upon? Yeah, Defoe we talked about. Gyllenhaal, Pierce, Cillian Murphy, Brolin. Oh yeah, this did come up, and these two did come up in these type of eras of the '90s. Baldwin and Mel Gibson. Baldwin, to me, I'm a sucker, not really sucker for. I like him more than others. I appreciate him. Dirty Sexy Money, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. But I think Baldwin's a pretty limited actor. I think obviously there's some limitations in the Burton one, and that's the era, right? In that one, I think he even Dirty Sexy Money, he's playing a Bruce Wayne type. I'm gonna put him second last because the thing is, on paper, sure. Does he look like a better Bruce Wayne and Batman than William Dafoe? Yes, but this just comes down to acting. I think William Baldwin's like just a decent actor, right? Dafoe is like, hey, I don't know if he could play Batman. Give it to him, and you could tell me there's a universe where he plays great, um, a great Batman. And I go, yeah, I could believe that. I wouldn't think that on paper, but Dafoe's such a good actor. I bet he did it, right? Baldwin, there's not like any role I could give him to be like, he could definitely knock this out of the park, right? No, I think that's a little bit different. So, okay. Superman says Gladiator, Russell Crowe could have been amazing. I think the Batman, yes. I don't know about his Bruce Wayne. I think he's too rugged. I think he's too almost hard edged for it. I guess Beautiful Mind, he kind of gets a little softer. So, yeah, but the Batman part, I think, yeah, absolutely nails it. And again, I think he was firing on all cylinders back then. So I feel like there's some actors, right, that I could say, yeah, I think they're a better actor in this era. Where now it's like, oh, they got better, right? Mel Gibson, that comes like the Arnie Hammer thing, right? But that's just never been. That made sense to me of why they would have talked about that. There's just never. He's got a good face for it. He would have been a better Batman than a Bruce Wayne. I don't think he has that right charisma. But Mel to me is always ranked like pretty low when we've heard about this. So I'm gonna I'm gonna rank him in like the bottom 3 to 4 here right now. I just have never jived with it, but on paper he would be, I think, better than Dafoe, and then is still like a good actor, right? Let's see. Okay, and I think we're almost done here. I got one more list, and then we'll call it quits. I'll give my whole ranking, and this took longer than I thought, so we'll call it there because I'm almost at the hour mark. So I think that's looking at this thumbnail, I'm getting vibes that I've talked about everybody here. Yeah, I think so. What is this picture of Dafoe? Oh, what the fuck? I don't even know what that picture's from. What is this? He's like in like an Indiana. Let me share this screen. Let me know if anyone knows what this role is. If it's something I've seen, it's not coming to mind. Sorry, this is audio appeal. I describe it to you, but it's like he looks like he's Indiana Jones, but just with a mustache. What movie is that from? I can't close this ad. What Dafoe movie is this from? He's literally Indiana Jones, but with a mustache. I don't know. Someone let me know. Because I can't place it. Let's see here. Yeah, Phoenix we got. Brolin. I think we hit them all. Oh, I guess there's one more we can talk about that I did come up around that era here. So this is the last one. Again, I think this very much fits into the energy of the Ledgers, the Holtz, a person that would have been a better villain. and then we can talk about this because we talked about this in our GOA chat the other day too, how it was funny. But Johnny Depp, obviously somebody, because we were talking about this with Leo. Those were the two most popular fan casts for The Dark Knight Rises before it was called that. When everyone thought it was going to be the Riddler, it was Depp and Leo. And I was on the Depp bandwagon, man. I thought, oh, he'd be great. That Defoe photos from Nightmare Alley. Okay, that's good to know because it's funny. I plan on watching that. God loves me. We were talking about things. I got to finish my PTA watch along, or like my watches, and then I want to do Guillermo like blind spots or watch stuff like Pan's Labyrinth that I haven't seen in a while. So Nightmare Alley, okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna be watching that soon. So thank you, S Bubs. Johnny Depp was all on board for Riddler, and we were talking about how there's this funny interview that, because early internet, I guess Michael Caine just saw an article or something that filmed Seymour Hoffman as the Penguin, which would have been amazing, and Johnny Depp was playing the Riddler, and he's talked about this interview like, yeah, the next Batman 3, it's gonna be those two going against Bale, and then in the next interview you'd be like, oh, that wasn't real, I just saw fake stuff in the news, and I apologize. But see, that's somewhere like, it's kind of funny because I was looking in this because I finished it today. God, why am I forgetting? Edward Scissorhands, right? And it's kind of funny that in the 90s, like obviously the 2000s, Burton and Depp just become the go-tos. They work together all the time, right? But in the 90s, it was literally Burton going back between Depp and Keaton, and they didn't interact at all. Please, someone in the chat, let me know if Keaton and Depp have been in a movie together before. And it is just kind of funny that, you know, he does Beetlejuice and then Batman, then you have like Ed Wood and Edward Scissorhands, then Batman 2 happens. Like, let me get the trajectory of full Tim Burton movies here. But I was thinking about this because Tim Burton obviously directed that, and he directed Batman Returns. That meaning Edward Scissorhands. They share a lot of similarities, those movies. Even some of the scores are very similar. But let me get the movies. But it just is, to me, kind of funny that they never cross paths like the Batman verse, right? So, okay, so you get Beetlejuice in 88, and this guy fucking, talk about a tear. People talk about 5 movie tears as someone that really likes Ed Wood. Beetlejuice, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and Ed Wood. Now, and even then, yeah, I guess that was the first time he worked with Depp, right? So I guess it's that sense of maybe, you know, Keane was his guy in a sense, and then he moves over. But yeah, it's funny that even after Edward Scissorhands, I guess because Depp was kind of building, that didn't sniff anything in Returns. Like, I don't know who he could have been. He could have even been Penguin, to be honest. But I just found that funny how usually you have it where Scorsese is working with De Niro for a time, that stops, then Leo takes over, right? It feels like there's times where people switch over, even like Nolan. He worked with Bale for a bunch, and then it was like he's done a lot with Damon or something like that, right? Like, it feels like there's eras, but in that era, in the 90s, he's going back and forth between the two. So Depp in like the Reeves stuff, you could actually see that. Depp in the Tim Burton stuff, you could actually see that. I think his Bruce Wayne would have, even his Batman would have felt kind of meek, like he's a very smaller type of guy, but I could see him fitting in that world, right? There's certain things he could have fit with for Tim Burton's Batman specifically, but like the general classic Batman, no, would have been not a great choice. So yeah, so that's tough. Yeah, I'll put him there. Okay, so the list I have, so this is from last to top order. Bill Murray, William Baldwin, William Dafoe, sorry to the two Williams, Mel Gibson, Nicholas Hoult. I just put Hoult a bit above Gibson because I think he's a bit more versatile. That's a tough one. I actually don't know. I just think Hoult was not. Yeah, I'm actually gonna put Hoult below Gibson. I just think Hoult was not a good option for Batman. He Reeves Batman, I think Passman was a better choice. So Hoult, Mel Gibson, Johnny Depp, because I think Depp's a better actor than Gibson in that era, so I'll go there. Heath Ledger, because I feel like his Bruce Wayne would have been better. Ethan Hawke, I just feel like could have been a bit scary in the bat suit. Joaquin Phoenix, Cillian Murphy, Henry Cavill, Jake Gyllenhaal, Colin Farrell, Kurt Russell, Pierce Brosnan, Josh Brolin in the top 3, Armie Hammer in the top 2, and John Hamm as number 1. So yeah, that's the ranking. There's my topic for the day, and we're ending at a perfect time. So I hope everyone has a good time. I'll be back as of right now, Monday, 11 p.m. PST. Obviously, the main topic is going to be Wicked. So Mike, there you go. I will not have seen it. Mike almost was going to see the movie because my sister was like, yeah, I'll take the kids. And then she's like, yeah, we'll see it December 7th. I'm like, December 7th? Like, I don't know. I was kind of annoyed because I was like, the kids are looking very forward to it. They know it's coming out this week. So I just kind of hope like other kids don't see it. Like, oh, I've seen this happen. It's like, so I was going to, Mike, I was like, fuck it. I'll just take them. But then, much to your delight there, theaters were just sold out, or the times I want to go are just, or we could go, are sold out, and then the times that aren't, it just can't work, and because of school and whatnot. So I almost thought, but there'll be no review. Just gonna talk strictly box office. Can it become the biggest movie of the year? It's looking like it might beat Minecraft for the biggest opening of the year. So yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that, and then whatever news is out there. So thank you very much. I hope everyone has a good rest of your week. Tune in to the rest of the week. We got Minecraft movie retrospective. Never too late. It is for Monday. I there's too much stuff going on now. There's Nutcracker. Saturday we're going to film again. Sunday is it. So yeah, it is too late. I will see it. Maybe the kids want to see it again in the theater. I would take them, but I'll see it at home and kind of go from there. So until then, hope everyone has a good rest of your week. I'll be on other casts and it won't be boring.